Hello and welcome! This is Ian speaking, and joining with me right now is other co-host right now.
What's going on?
This is our top 10 games of 2015.
That we've personally played.
It may not be games that we've both played, but they certainly are games that we did enjoy for 2015. This is a list that I came up with, and we're just going to give our thoughts about each game that comes up in the list here. Starting with the number 10 spot, and actually before we get to our number 1 spot, we're going to do our honorable mentions, and we'll get to that in just a moment.
Let's start with number 10.
Number 10.
The Order 1886.
Now, the Order 1886, it makes the list particularly because we did find that the game is visually appealing. It's very
like
nice
playing a movie.
It's like playing a movie, and for what you can actually get it for, which is maybe $10 or a rental over at Redbox, it certainly does deserve its spot as the number 10 list. Why? Also, not just because of its visual looks, but because it has pretty solid gameplay. The lore, particularly, is a little messed up. Basically, it does actually kind of mess up and has a few glitches.
Yeah, glitches falling through the world.
Yeah, I have no idea what caused that. But anyway, even considering that, we do recommend it as a number 10 spot, even though it's a questionable number 10.
Yeah, very questionable.
Very questionable. Anyway, moving on. Number 9.
Danganronpa Despair Girls.
What? A Vita game? What is this madness? Well, the reason why this particular game wins the list is because I found it, again, to be very enjoyable. It reminded me a lot like Resident Evil 4, except instead of using bullets, you use a hacking gun to fight psychotic robot bears. It takes place between the first and second Danganronpa game, with the brother of the main character, the sister of the main character of the first game, along with her companion, I believe her name is Toko, from the first game as well. Do recommend it if you ever pick up a Vita, those 5 of you that have a Vita. But even though that the Vita does have, it is considered a legacy platform, in my opinion, it is building quite the legacy for it.
Number 8. Metal Gear Solid 5.
Now, this one ranks a little bit low on our list, but it does make the list, particularly because we did enjoy the gameplay of it, even though that it's not one of your traditional Metal Gear Solid games. It does stand out as being visually appealing, as it runs as great with the Fox engine. It has 60 frames per second running most of the time. And I did enjoy the story, at least in the beginning. I never finished it, but I like the mother base aspect to it. I like going around and doing like weird things with the guards and finding neat little cassette tapes and stuff. So that's particularly why it gets number 8 on the list.
Number 7. Axial Verge.
Now, Axial Verge, it is a particularly good Metroidvania game. Now,
more Metroid than Vania.
Exactly, more Metroid than Vania. Directly so, because I think that was the aesthetic that they were going for on purpose, and I think it emulates it well. It does take some interesting aspects and tackles the gameplay of Metroid in a very innovative way. I like the story of it. I like how it plays. The variety of weapons. Now, this was exclusive to PS4 and then was later ported to PC, but basically it doesn't edge out over the other one, which we'll get to later on in this list, and we will explain why. But it's still a good game on its own right. You can pick it up on PS4 and on PC. Moving on.
Number 6. Splatoon.
All right. Now, again, this is a fun little game by Nintendo.
One of the few games that makes me want to buy a Wii U.
It made a lot of people want to buy a Wii U, specifically for this game. I personally enjoyed the multiplayer aspect, and this is coming from someone who didn't really enjoy the multiplayer games of the current generation. But for some reason, I don't know what Nintendo's magic was, but with Splatoon, I could just jump right in and enjoy a multiplayer match. It's a great single player as well, and the mechanics are tight. I like the variety of weapons, and
it's one of the more enjoyable multiplayer games that I've played all year.
Exactly. A few pointers though. Get the roller, get the roller, get the roller.
Get used to the gyro controls.
Exactly. Right. The gyro controls makes it a lot more accurate as well.
Makes the game.
All right. Moving on.
Number 5. Ori and the Blind Forest.
Remember when I said that Axial Verge didn't edge out over the other one? Well, this is that game.
This game is absolutely gorgeous.
Right. This was released on Xbox One and on PC on day one at the same time. Good on you, Microsoft. So, yeah, this one takes place in a bit of a different aesthetic. And I believe that even though that this game is a little bit harder than Axial Verge, it's actually a lot more rewarding. So because of that reason, this is why it earns its number 5 spot in the top 10 games of 2015. Go ahead and pick it up.
Number 4. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon.
Now, this one is a bit of a surprise to me particularly, because I've played the previous installments in this series, but this one in particular was a lot more harder than the previous installments. I did find the gameplay to be very fun. You can recruit 720 Pokemon. I enjoyed the story. The music was fantastic. The art direction was great. It had nice cutscenes in it as well. But, for example, if you try to, 1 hour into the game and you somehow come across the level 50 Skullamax or whatever it's called, it just wrecks your face and having to start over. So for that reason, you might want to play the game a little bit cautiously, because it does incorporate some roguelite elements, which are different than roguelike. There is a distinct difference. So it does have random generated content, so for that reason, I do call it a roguelite. But it's developed by Spike Chunsoft. Very enjoyable. They also developed the Danganronpa games as well. You know, fun little fact there. Woo. Moving on. Number 3.
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
AKA, this needs to be an MMO.
You're damn straight.
Pretty much. But even though that it's not an MMO, it is a fantastic game in its own right. This is the only reason, originally, why I wanted to get a Wii U in the first place. It was just for this game. I wanted to play this game for 3 years. And seeing all the live streams of this for 6 months from Japan just made me want it even more. It's so fantastic. I've played probably about 35 hours of this game so far. I've still not managed to beat it yet. You could just run endlessly and enjoying the sights, you know. But be warned, though, I do recommend that you play this game with a guide. And for that reason, that's why it earns its number 3 spot. So, for example, you know, I didn't really know that there was a transmog system 15 hours into the game. 25 hours in, I didn't know that there were gems and you could upgrade the stats on your gear. But that adds another layer of complexity and depth to the game that you could just get totally immersed in. All right, moving on to number 2.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
Oh shit. Oh shit. What did I just walk into? Oh shit!
Bloodborne. Now,
this game earns its number 2 spot particularly because it is a Souls game. Souls games are notoriously difficult, but very, very rewarding if you actually manage to beat them.
I managed to die 12 times, and I hadn't even gotten to the first boss.
I did manage to beat the game. I did get the bad ending, but I actually wasn't really regretting my decision of going with that particular ending. The bosses are very varied, and I like the faster gameplay of Bloodborne as opposed to the previous Souls games where you pretty much just, tunneled behind your shield and, looking for openings. Bloodborne is a lot more fast-paced.
It's more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's much more enjoyable for that particular reason. There's less weapons, but they're more refined because they're trick weapons. The fact that you attack and you get your health back, I liked how you explored and you're able to warp around. And also, the person that helps you level up, that was a fantastic addition to the game. And before we move to our number one spot, we need to go over our honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. These are games that we wish we could have added to the list. We just either didn't have the time to play the games or didn't even like them when we did play them. But the games on this list are mostly games that we wish we would have played this year.
Right, games like, for example, The Witcher 3, which is fantastic in its own right. We just never got around to it. Also things like Fallout 4.
And Until Dawn.
Yeah, Until Dawn. Rocket League is also a good one. I've heard a few things about Her Story, but I've never really played it. But, again, because these are games that we didn't really personally play, they're not going to be on this list. All right, now we're going to go to our number one spot. 2015. Number one.
Undertale. This game is insane.
It's completely amazing. I mean, how could such a small indie game be the number one spot of 2015? Well, it's a bit of a situation where we can't really personally tell you exactly why, because that would be a spoiler. I can tell you a few things though. Imagine that you are God, particularly of an entire world, and the narrative is built around that. The game recognizes that it's a game, and the narrative is focused on that. So because of that reason, the game can play with you, and you can play back with it. And no matter what you do, it will remember across multiple playthroughs. It will remember everything.
I remember killing a particular character and then restarting the game, and the game yelling at me saying, it remembered me killing this person and that I regretted it.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. I recommend that if you do play this game, go in blind, play it however you want, and you'll pretty much enjoy it all the more reason, Anyway, that's our top 10 games of 2015. Again, these are our opinions, and if you don't like our opinions,
you can suck it.
Exactly. Anyway, make sure to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We also live stream on Twitch. You can follow us here at Ian Keaton Fox at Twitch. Links will be down in the description. Y'all have a nice new year for 2016. Take care.
Peace out.